It's a Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. We got a special guest, Caleb Miller, on the show. Let's get the intro.
ATL Jacob, ATL Jacob.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. We bring unique insight and analysis behind your favorite teams at the collegiate and professional levels. I'm your host, Chase Shantz. We got a special guest in studio today. Part of King Calaway. He's an Ohio kid, big-time Buckeye football fan. Let's say hello to Caleb Miller, everybody. Caleb, what's going on?
Yo, what's up, man? Thanks for having me on. It's going to be fun.
Man, most definitely. We've been, looking forward to this past weekend on, super excited to have you on the show. Let's get a little background going for you. Just tell us what it was like growing up, where you're from in Ohio, and just kind of give us your whole story.
Yeah, man. I was born and raised in Portsmouth, Ohio, which is a little city on the Ohio River, kind of borders Kentucky. I grew up here. I ended up moving to Nashville when I was 17. So I was still in high school. I've been playing music my whole life. I started playing music when I was 4 years old, kind of doing the bar gigs and playing anywhere I could, whether it was in church or in a bar. I was playing. Then I met some guys in Nashville, and when I was 17, it was my junior year of high school. I ended up moving to Nashville, doing my senior year online, and that's when King Calaway formed, and we've been going at it almost 5 years now. So it's been a huge blessing. We've got to do a lot of cool stuff. But it's always fun to come back to Ohio, get down to the roots of everything, see my family and friends, and see some Buckeye football when I can. That's it, man. I love that stuff.
Most definitely. And I mean, obviously there could be a bit of a culture shock maybe from moving from Portsmouth to all the way to Nashville, such a huge city in Tennessee. What were some of the, obviously being that 16, 17 years old, what were some of the big things you had to kind of adjust to when you made that move?
Yeah, man, it was crazy because Portsmouth, there's a lot of like rednecks around Portsmouth. I mean, we're not city folks in Portsmouth. So coming to Nashville, it's tough, especially with the talent that's there. I mean, when I moved to Nashville being 17, that's the first thing I noticed is how talented everyone around me was. I mean, when you're in a small town like Portsmouth, it seems like you're the guy. I mean, you're the guy that can play music. You're the talented dude. So you kind of feel special in that way. But when you get to Nashville, it seems like everyone has that talent. So it's kind of ego check, which is nice to be humbled sometimes. But it was really inspiring just to kind of be around people like that and feed off of it, just to learn from people who are great and kind of copy what they do, which is kind of what I'm still doing. I'm still learning from those guys in Nashville.
Yep. That's a big thing, though. I mean, there's sometimes, like you said, if you're a big fish in a smaller pond, you go into a bigger pond. Some people just kind of go in the water and just kind of fold and get lost in it. And that's the thing, though. I mean, you're, staying with it and, being, trying to grow yourself as a bigger fish in that bigger pond. I mean, it's obviously shown. That's awesome to see, in a competitive city like Nashville when it comes to music. So yeah, just how did King Calaway form?
Yeah, so my viewpoint on the story, I was obviously living in Ohio. I was 17, and I was posting videos on Instagram as much as I can. I mean, putting them on YouTube, Instagram, trying to connect with people as much as possible. And I got a message one day, and it was like a buddy of a buddy of a buddy who knew this guy in Nashville that's like putting this band together. So he said, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing. I know you're still in high school, but I think it's worth checking out. I think you should talk to these guys and kind of send them what you do and take a look at what they do and see if it would be the right fit." So I got in contact with the other guys, and we got in a band room in Nashville. I went down with my dad for a weekend. He had to drive me and kind of take me around, sneaking into bars, hanging out, doing everything a 17-year-old can. But we got in a band room with the other dudes, and it was like magical. It was super cool to see the chemistry we had as soon as we got together. And I knew it was real at that moment. I was like, we definitely have to chase this down. Opportunities like that don't come every day. So when you see something like that, it's worth jumping on. So I took that opportunity and I ran with it. And like I said, did high school online for a year. And we started hitting the road, played a lot of shows, opened for Garth Brooks early on, did the Grand Ole Opry multiple times that year. And it was a whirlwind to start off, which was a lot for a 17-year-old to take in. But looking back, it's something I'll never forget. And it kind of puts in perspective what I'm doing now and how I should never take that for granted, just to kind of live in the moment and realize where you're at. I mean, a lot of people don't get these opportunities. So it's such a blessing that you can't miss. You kind of got to be in the moment to appreciate all that.
You're able to do all that before you can even vote for the president of the United States. I mean, that's a lot of stuff right there. That's incredible.
Exactly.
That's incredible,
Exactly.
man. So I mean, you got in your group, you got Simon Dumas, Chad Jervis, Chris Deaton, and yourself. You're the lead guitarist in that group, are you?
I am. Yep, that's what I do.
All right. What's everybody else's role in there?
So there's two lead singers, Simon and Chad. They share the lead singing responsibilities, and Chris is the drummer. And we have a lot of fun. We all kind of play multiple instruments live. We'll be on tour with the Zach Brown Band this summer. So if any of the viewers are around, I think the closest date will probably be Columbus. We're doing Nationwide Arena in Columbus. So yeah, we have a good time, man. We like to really play our instruments. I mean, it's funny to say, but a lot of people don't do that nowadays.
Yeah.
There's a lot of phoning it in. So we're musicians at heart, and we have fun. We have fun at the live shows.
That's awesome, man. And obviously, looking at the screen, you got Tennessee waiting. That's out on June the 9th. Pre-sale available now. I mean, that's a week away from this point. You know, how fun was that to make Tennessee's waiting?
Yeah, man. So me, Chad, and Chris in the band, we wrote the song Tennessee's Waiting. And it's really just a song about the road life and missing home. I mean, it happens a lot when you're away from your friends and family and you're out on the road. It's nice to know that home is always waiting for you. So that's kind of the idea of the song. And we got in the studio, and Zach Brown produced the album, actually, and he just took it to the next level. So we're super proud of what came with it. And, yeah, it's out next Friday. So be sure to stream it.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. And also some other songs you guys have had. Obviously, I'm Feeling Good. When I Get Home, World for Two. Obviously, a couple, few great songs on there. I mean, I've been playing those tracks a couple times. Gotta appreciate that, man. I mean, and also when you're looking at it, what other like big events have you guys done over the past year or so? Because you guys have done some pretty major stuff, and obviously you guys are going on tour this summer. But what have you guys done over the last year?
Yeah, man. I mean, along with the live stuff, like I said, we've opened for Garth Brooks, played the Grand Ole Opry, but we've gotten to do a lot of television, which is super cool. We've played the Late Show, the Kelly Clarkson Show, the Today Show, which is it's really interesting, man, because you grow up watching those shows, and then when you're there in the set and you're performing, it's so surreal. I mean, I can't even put it into words, but it's always fun. I mean, you're so scared in that 3 to 5 minutes that you're performing, and then the payoff is going back to the hotel room and being able to watch it. It's crazy. It's such a surreal feeling, but that's always fun. We've gotten to do so many cool things, and we're just so grateful for what we've done this far.
And that is awesome stuff there. I mean, that's a lot of people you guys are performing for, people in the studio, people obviously watching those shows, and it's just, it's unbelievable to be like, man, I'm performing on a big show like the Today Show or, the late night shows and all. And it's just like, wow. I mean, this is amazing to see what you guys have been able to do over the last few years. Another thing, I mean, Nashville life. Obviously, like some people, drive through Nashville. I've never really stopped in Nashville to really get a good look at the scene and all. My Bengals played the Titans there the last couple of years, had a couple big wins over them. They play them week 4 this year. Might have to stop by for that one. Not too sure, but what's the Nashville life like down there? Obviously, there's a lot of a lot of pictures and a lot of fun videos down there when it comes to all the country bars and everything going on. But what is really that Nashville life like, on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, it's crazy. There's so many aspects of Nashville, I feel like, and it's growing like crazy. I mean, there's thousands of people that move there weekly, and it's really cool to see the evolution of Nashville, but also just I think Nashville will never lose its heart. There's so many great musicians that still live there and call Nashville home. And it's crazy how much music is actually done in Nashville. Even like in the pop world now, a lot of pop artists live in Nashville and work out in Nashville. There's the Christian music industry, which is massive in Nashville, and obviously the country music industry. So it's kind of cool to see how it's a hotbed of talent. I mean, everywhere you look, you could walk into any bar in downtown Broadway and just see some crazy musicians that are 10 times better than me. And it just like, it blows you away, man. And it, like I said earlier, it really humbles you. It's cool to realize how many talented people there are, and just be grateful for every opportunity. I mean, a lot of these people, like, they're still playing in bars in Broadway, which is awesome. I mean, that's a big accomplishment for a lot of people, but to kind of take it to that next level, there's so many that don't get that opportunity. So it's cool to be in Nashville and be able to tour and do the great things that we do.
That seems such like a fun place, fun city, and like you said, a lot of great people, musicians, connections going on there in Nashville, man. That is so awesome. And one more thing before we kind of shift into Ohio State football, as you're repping, the Archie Griffin shirt, the
That's right,
two-time Heisman winner. You know it. So obviously, like in your Instagram bio, man, you got a Jesus follower, man. That's awesome, man. I'm a Jesus follower myself.
Awesome.
Grew up in Christianity and all. How have you been able to kind of, put your Christianity and all that stuff out there?
Yeah, man, I think that's the most important part of my story. I feel like without my faith in Jesus, there's really no hope for anything that I do. And what I do would not be bigger than playing a guitar. So, I mean, the hope that we're able to share with other people, whether it's on the road or just through our music, people listening to our music, it's a big part of who King Calaway is. I mean, most of us are followers of Jesus, and it's a big part of the music, but also just dealing with the life that it brings. I mean, if you're not grounded and rooted in your faith, you're easily swept away. I mean, you believe the lies that everyone tell you, and it's not easy. I mean, it's a hard occupation being a musician and being in the spotlight. It's easy to fall into what others tell you. So being rooted in the word and just following Jesus and putting him first, it makes the mission a lot more meaningful, which is something that I get excited about. I mean, more than music or more than shows, it's all about showing people the love of Christ. So that's what I'm here for.
Exactly. And that's the thing. When people sometimes go through hardships, they try to find other things to fill in that void when really, it's really Jesus Christ that should be putting in there and, putting their faith in him. And, like the old saying, I can do all things in Christ who strengthens me. And that's just that's a thing that really, really moves people every single day as life goes on.
That's it, man. That's what it's about.
Most definitely. And, we'll shift gears to the Ohio State football. Gotta love talking about it. The guys that are normally on my show, Brady King and Matt Ricketts, they're off doing other things right now on this, beautiful Friday, start of June. We talk a lot of Ohio State football, a lot of Big Ten football, what's going on around the landscape of college football, as well as NFL and stuff. But, let me just ask about this quarterback battle going on at Ohio State, man. So you got, Kyle McCord versus Devin Brown. I don't know if you've really, picked up with this, man, but like, what are your thoughts and who do you think would be the starter week one?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's so funny because I feel like the Ohio State fan base freaks out every 2 years.
Yes.
When it's time for a quarterback, we're like,
yes.
we're done. Ohio State is over. There's no dynasty. The quarterback's terrible. But it's never the case. I mean, we recruit great talent, and I think Ryan Day knows what he's doing. He's a smart guy, and I think there's been an obvious front runner. I mean, if you've been watching it, which is interesting, but it'll be cool to see how it plays out. I mean, I think the two dudes, Kyle and sorry,
you're good. Yeah, Devin Brown. Yep.
Devin Brown. Yeah, I think they offer different things, and it'll be interesting to see what their arms are and how much the mobility kind of comes into it, because as we saw with CJ, not a super mobile guy, but a dude like Justin Fields, it's a game changer to have a mobile quarterback. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I don't really mind because I think we have some weapons on the team that are gonna make up for anything we lack in the quarterback room. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and we talked about some of the on a couple shows before. We talked about some of the quarterbacks who might be under the most pressure, might have the least pressure, might have the easiest or hardest jobs in there. Whoever steps in at quarterback this year, like you said, with the weapons on the outside, Marvin
Yeah,
Harrison Jr., Emeka Buka, Julian Fleming, Jaden Ballard, whoever you want to throw out there, receiver, Carnell Tate, the freshman. There's so many talented receivers that we have out there, and especially Marvin Harrison Jr. Man, what are your thoughts on him?
yeah. I think it's a historic time for Ohio State watchers, which is kind of like I say in music, you don't want to miss the opportunity. I mean,
Not at all.
you're watching one of the all-time greats when we'll see him this fall on Saturday. So it's really cool to see that, to have the opportunity at Ohio State to have that guy. It's just amazing. And I thought we would have that in Jackson, which was he was amazing while he was
Yeah.
there, and obviously his injury last year kind of dampened things. But I think Marvin's the real deal, and we're going to see it this fall.
Oh, most definitely. And that's the thing, like with Jackson's injury last year, it's just it's unfortunate that we're not able to see at least the tandem and even trio if you had Emeka Ibuka, and it was fantastic. But just
Sure.
see that trio of receivers last year after losing the two guys that we had the year before, and Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson to the draft, and having JSN take over that receiver room. That would have been awesome to see if we could have saw it for a lot more games than what we did last year. What do
Yeah.
you think about JSN in Seattle?
Yeah, man, that's gonna be exciting to watch. I saw some preseason footage, and he's ridiculous, man.
Oh, yeah.
I wish we would have saw his full potential at Ohio State, but I think he's really going to be one of those guys that is an NFL wide receiver. It's just going to be so obvious that he can play at that level and plays very well. I mean, it's going to be crazy, and that kind of leads to the question. It's like, is Ohio State now a wide receiver university? Is it a hotbed for talent, and how much does Brian Hartline kind of play into that? I know some young guys, I won't mention any names, but some high school talent in Ohio. And I think they all lean towards Ohio State just because of the opportunity they give their wide receivers and how they develop their wide receivers. I mean, they obviously come in 4 or 5-star recruits, but what they turn them into is just like it is with Jackson, just NFL quality, top tier receivers. So I'm excited about that. I have so much respect for Brian Hartline and what he's doing with the program, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when Brian takes that next step. I don't think he'll be at Ohio State for his whole career, obviously.
Yeah.
So how will we recover from that? And seeing what that offense looks like after the Brian Hartline era will be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. Over the last few years, I'd say the last 5 years or so. I mean, Ohio State's definitely a wide receiver university, man. It's producing first round talent. It's unbelievable. There's a long list of receivers just over this half decade that have been doing great things, and we're going to produce a couple this year. It's an awesome thing to see. I think the only competition, not only competition, but two schools that competition for wide receiver university. Obviously, Alabama, they've produced some great receivers. Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, all those guys over the last 5 years or so. And then I know there was only a couple receivers at LSU, but what they did in 2019, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, what those two did combined, I mean, that puts LSU in it just from those two guys. Like
Completely.
it's incredible to see. There's so many great wide receiver talents across the country, and there's a lot of great receiver talents in the state of Ohio, at Ohio State, and at both pro teams in in Cincinnati and Cleveland. It's awesome to see.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's super exciting, and like I said, who knows, man? Who knows what the future will look like? But it's looking good so far for those Ohio wide receivers.
Yeah, most definitely, man. So who are a couple of your favorite players in Ohio State history? I was like, could take a guess, and by looking at your shirt, who one of them is. But
Archie's one of the best. It's kind of interesting because I feel like I really started paying attention to Ohio State football like kind of during the national championship. I mean, kind of that 2014, 2015 season, I really started digging deep. So watching all of that, and obviously the passing of Dwayne was heartbreaking. He was one of my favorites. But really what stands out is Justin Fields. And the reason for that is I actually got the chance to go to the national championship, the Alabama-Ohio State national championship.
Really?
So it was crazy. It was still like during COVID, so everyone was like wearing masks. I think there were like 17,000 people in the stadium. I mean, just like such a small crowd, and it was awkward, man. And obviously the game was a terrible game. What a bluff.
Yeah.
But like you said, those receivers at Alabama and the weapons they had on that team was just insane. But seeing Justin lead the team the way he does, and still I know the Bears aren't in the greatest spot right now, but I think he has so much potential that's being untapped, and it's really cool to see how he leads a team and just the talent that he has. He'll always be one of my favorite Ohio State players.
Yeah, you can't help but pull for the guy, man. I mean, he's done so much good. He's such a talented athlete. Brady, who's the co-host on the show, man, Justin Fields is his favorite player of all time, and I mean he's such a huge fan. He's a Steelers fan. He almost I think he said if Jackson Smith and Jigba was to get picked by the Bears, he would completely abandon his Steelers religion and go over to Chicago.
How funny! I was pulling for that. I was hoping Jackson would end in Chicago.
That would have been awesome to see, though. I mean, obviously, you've seen like these quarterbacks and receivers like from college, like really, meet up. Like you have Tua and Jalen Waddle now, Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, Joe and Jamar. So I mean, it would have been really nice to see. But I mean, I'm pulling for Justin Fields in Chicago. I cannot wait to see what they're able to do with all the moves that they've made. But man, in his time at Ohio State, I mean, he only lost 2 games. Obviously, the COVID season. If it wasn't for how short of a season it was, he was on pace to do some historic stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a point to be made. I was at the Super Bowl this past year, and we were doing like some press and stuff, and Justin was there. And obviously, he doesn't know me, so I go up. I'm like, "Hey, Justin, I'm a massive fan, big Buckeyes fan. Love everything you did for the program." And he was the sweetest dude. I mean, we had a conversation, and just. I met some other players that day who weren't as nice. So to see the kindness and just the openness that he was to talk about everything, he's a cool dude. What you see is what you get with Justin, which is awesome.
Most definitely, man. That's so awesome to hear, man. I mean, obviously, sometimes you try to meet some of your favorite players or guys that you watch, or like even growing up with people, like to try to meet their heroes and all that stuff, and it could meeting them one time, and it's like, oh, that wasn't really that good, or that guy was a jerk to me, man. That could really, could take a turn left and all. But it's really cool to like, meet one of your favorite players, or for kids younger, like meet their hero and all that stuff. And that guy turned out to be who he really is. He's not, not fake, not putting on some fake persona and everything. It's awesome to see Justin Fields is really that guy, though.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's part of the responsibility you take on. I mean, a lot of these young athletes and musicians alike, they don't realize it's more than just playing ball or playing music. I mean, you're a role model to so many people, and you got to kind of uphold that throughout your whole career. It's okay to have fun. A lot of guys kind of let the fame get to their head, and the fun becomes not fun pretty quick. Yeah. But I think when you realize the weight that actually carries, I think that's when you can do a lot of good. You can use that platform for good, which I know that I also met CJ Stroud at that Super Bowl press day, and I know he's going to do a lot of good. I mean, I've already seen what he's done, and he has a strong faith and just a good dude and a level head on his shoulders. So I know he's going to be awesome in the NFL, and even off the field, he's going to do great things.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see CJ Stroud play for the Houston Texans. Hopefully they get some stuff going around there. But, obviously he's going to, be himself. And it's, great to see those guys, take on bigger roles in society, in their community, and just really raise up to that while having, that higher stature as an NFL quarterback. So that's great stuff to see. What are some of your favorite memories watching a Buckeye game? Something going on around it? Favorite play? Just throw a couple of those out.
Oh goodness. Dude, there's so many. It's hilarious because
There's a ton.
it's every Saturday in the fall. I mean, when
Yeah.
I can get to Ohio, I mean, I'm making the trip. If I don't have anything to do in Nashville, I'm driving to Columbus when I can. But obviously, the game every year sticks out in my mind. It's such a big thing. And me and my girlfriend's family, we always do like a flag football game before the game, so that gets super intense. And I don't know, man. I'm just right now. I'm clouded by the last 2 games. I'm just thinking of sad memories right now. It's been a rough couple years, but obviously being at the national championship, I think will always be my my dearest memory of Ohio State football, and just being so close. We had great seats. I took my dad with me, which was awesome, and it was great. I mean, getting to see the pinnacle of the season. I mean, that's every Ohio State fan's goal at the end of the year is to make it to that game. So to actually be there and witness it, I think that'll always be my favorite Ohio State memory. Unless I go back and we win one, then that'll definitely be that'll definitely be the top memory.
Hey man, maybe this year though we'll see what happens with that.
That's right, man. It's feeling good. This team's
exactly
nuts.
This team is pretty crazy though, man. The recruiting classes that we've been getting, the team that we have right now, man. I mean, why not this year? Why not do it this year?
Why not us, man?
Man, exactly. But yeah, and then before we get on out of here, what games have you gone to in the past? And I don't know if you've kind of scheduled this coming forward with this 2023 schedule, but like what games are you trying to make it to this year?
Any of them and all of them.
Yep, there you go.
It's tough, man. It's
man.
The schedule seems to always get busy in the fall, which is hard. So a lot of games I watch on the tour bus. But when I can, it seems to always be random. I think I went to Iowa last year and like Toledo the year before. So sometimes just a whole bunch of nothing games. But it's always fun to be in the horseshoe. But I don't know. It's weird. I had this past year, I had the game off. And I was like looking at tickets. I was gonna go talking to people. I don't know if I can bring myself to do it. It's so emotional for me.
Man, I know.
I would get arrested. I think I would quickly become someone I'm not. It would be a bad day.
Man, I feel it though. So Jake, who's running the graphics behind the screens, he was at the Michigan game in 2021, and it was snowing, and we lost that game. You know, just horrible. And then Brady and Matt, who are on the show, they Brady went in 2021 to that same game as well, unfortunately, and then Brady and Matt both went in 2022 this past year, man. I mean, those were some tough blows, man. We gotta get our revenge.
Not again, man. It's
cannot happen. Yeah, cannot happen 3 times in a row, man. We gotta get our revenge on that.
It's gonna be ugly. We're gonna make it ugly. I love it.
Most definitely, man. Man, I mean, this was dope having you on. I appreciate you coming on, man. This was fun.
Dude, absolutely. Anytime you want to do it again, I'm here for it. Love some Buckeye football talk.
Yes, sir, man. Always a friend of the show. And obviously, before we get on out of here, make sure you guys look out for Tennessee Waiting. That's next Friday on June the 9th. It's gonna be released. And go out there and listen to some King Calaway music, man. They're doing a lot of good stuff down there in Nashville. For Chase Yance, you got Caleb Miller over there. Caleb, man, it was good talking to you, and we will see you guys next episode.
Thank you, brother.